Now, what we want to do, the reason I'm spending time going back to Colonial Williamsburg, because there's so much to learn. And porches are something that we've lost and forgotten how to build. Just did a video on my daughter's house and just this junky, slapped together parts and pieces that look like a porch, right? We've just lost the magic. And so going back to a place like Colonial Williamsburg, you remember, oh yeah, there's a good porch. Now, the variety of porches and the stories that they tell. I mean, porches can communicate style, they can communicate taste, they can communicate hierarchy, they can communicate so many things. Because they're oftentimes attached to the front of the house, they become a very important architectural element. Okay, so this is the Finney house, and this was Mr. Finney, Colonel Finney, got it in the 1770s. He was actually the mayor of Williamsburg at one point. He was helping the supplies of the Colonial Army, an important figure, okay? This porch, and we're gonna see a bunch of porches as we go through Colonial Williamsburg, but look at the great details on this portico as it comes out. You've got engaged pilasters. The pilasters have entasis in them. You don't see it a ton, but you do see the entasis there. They're also up on pedestals. And so that little pedestal and the columns in the front with the fluting, really elegant. They don't have the typical architrave there. They have a fretwork architrave with these ring motifs that are coming together, that are kind of looping together there. So it's kind of a different way of elevating the porch. Typically, the frieze is where they decorate it, and the architrave is pretty simple and strong. In this case, the architrave is decorated and the frieze is pulvinated. So kind of an interesting detail. They got modillions up there in the cornice, dentils, right? This is an elevated porch, fluted columns, pedestals, decoration. This is probably one of the more elevated porches at Williamsburg. So this is a good example kind of on the hierarchy level of something that's really pretty special, because there's other porches and porticos that are just hoods, right? There are no columns. So anyway, this is a real great example. The Finney house has been copied a number of times. We are having a beer over there talking to somebody and said, yeah, my house is a copy of the Finney house. So these houses in these examples have been copied, have been reproduced. They're wonderful. This is part of the reason why. There's this book, The Restoration of Colonial Williamsburg, that shows some of these houses with Victorian porches on it or arts and crafts porches on it that get taken away later as they do the research and figure out that it's really an older house with a newer porch. So porches can be defining architecturally and really help communicate the character and the style. But main things I want you to learn is notice that the porches almost all have this column and beam relationship where the neck of the column lines up with the beam above, the capital sticks out past it out into the air. I've shown that video, I've taught that a few times, and everybody fights me on it. Not everybody, a lot of people will fight me on that. Well, you're just gonna get rain on it. Look, they've been doing it for 2,000 years. I think it's okay. The beam to neck of the column relationship, the full entablature that happens, that you've got an architrave, a frieze, and a cornice, how those relate together, the split fillet that is part of the pediment that goes along there. So if you just study those porches, if you just look at them and go, how did they build that? And try to build that again, you'll be building great porches.